here to the program here on MMAOddsBreaker. Of course, we're going to talk about the Bisping Anderson Silva fight because he was highly involved but not involved at all, which makes it the perfect refereeing position. First, though, going back to that London card, Mark Goddard, in the middle of the fight, doesn't stop the fight, but still takes points away. Mm-hmm. He went and put a very long, lengthy explanation of why he did it and why he loved being a ref. Like Mark is very wordy when he writes stuff. Did you, obviously you agreed with the call, because it was the right call to make, but did you agree with the way that he took the point away as opposed to stopping the fight and taking the point away?
Oh, absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. I think that that's the way it should be done for a number of reasons. First of all, it was a tactic in the early days for guys if they were in a position they couldn't solve to commit a foul, and then so they would be stood up. And you know about that.
Oh, yeah.
So guys would be stood up and they'd say, hey, look, you know what? I'm okay with 1 point because there was no way I was going to get out from underneath this guy. So that's one reason why I do it that way. Two, let's say there's a foul happen, but the momentum is going in the favor of the fighter who was fouled. I don't want to break his momentum, even if I'm going to put him back in the same place. So I think it's the best way to do it that way. And as long as you make sure you follow up with the scorekeeper, because one of the judges may not see, but follow up with the scorekeeper, which he did do.
I actually thought it was outstanding. And of course, Herb, for the viewers at home, know that Herb has been very instrumental in making sure my refereeing tactics are squared away and up to par. We've had a couple of conversations about some mistakes I made as a ref that actually ended up coming to light later and fixing what I had problems in. So I actually thought what Mark did was great. And when he was pulling it, when it was happening, I was like, he's going to have to take a point away from this guy because he kept grabbing the gloves. I'm like, it's coming any moment. How's Mark going to handle this position? Because it was obviously the guy on the bottom was looking to get out from underneath and couldn't do it. So he's trying to cheat and got caught and still had to stay in the same position and take more of an ass whipping, which is the perfect way to do it.
Which is the way it's supposed to be.
Exactly. So let's talk about, obviously everyone wants to talk about the third round. At the end of the third round for Bisping and Silva. I've already talked to Jason Perillo, Bisping's coach. I've had a few words off camera with Ed Suarez about it. The camps have their different opinions. Of course, they're trying to sell it. Their fighter was the best. Their fighter was okay. Their fighter had won the fight. What were they doing going to the fourth and fifth round? That's fine and dandy. Let's get the nuts and bolts. What did you see at the end of the third? The knee comes through. Bisping drops, obviously. But you immediately would have went and waved off if you thought the fight was over, but you didn't. You stepped in to get ready for the horn to go off because you already signaled the 10 seconds. And I could see that you were coming in with your hands to break the action, even though Bisping was on the ground, but not a wave off of the fight. So what did you see in Mike that said, hey, this fight's still going on?
Okay, so I think the way you framed it is perfect. That's exactly what was going on. And I saw that Mike, when he fell, I saw that he was facing Anderson, and then he turned, and his hand was up in a defensive posture. So I see that he's prepared to deal with a threat, and I was preparing, if there had been more time, would have been looking to see how he dealt with it. But the time was over, and Anderson walked away for that brief, however much time was left, so there was no threat for him to deal with. So at that point, it was absolutely no doubt in my mind that, that fight was going to continue. The fact that it should have been stopped didn't even cross my mind. I saw Anderson celebrating. I believe I tried to let him know that the match wasn't over, but I think the celebration was feeling good, so he wanted to continue with it. Figure, okay, do your thing for a little while.
And for the folks at home that saw the Jason Perillo interview, I'm going to give you the exact same disclaimer right now. If Herb Dean said something that's not 100% accurate to what was happening, it's because it's chaos in the middle of that ring, and he's doing 100 things at one time. So he may not say, I exactly went to Anderson and told him, hey, the fight's still going on. It might have taken him another 2 seconds to do that. So don't start texting or tweeting me that Herb said something wrong.
Okay, thank you. Because I did not, I know it was not done instantly, but I did let him know that the fight was over.
And so it looked like, now I'm at home watching on Fight Pass, right? And so it looks like it's taking Mike a very long time to get off the ground, but they're flipping camera angles around. They keep jumping Anderson in the cage. They're jumping this corner, flying in. They're jumping to you yelling, no, the fight's still going on. You telling the translator. They keep bouncing around. It seems like it takes Mike a really long time to get up off the canvas. Was that, in fact, the reality?
Well, I'm not, okay, because like you said, there's a lot going on. So I think I would attribute it much of that to the fact that I believe, I don't know,
Okay.
So I can't say I know what was going on. I don't know what he's feeling. I don't know what he's thinking. But I would say it's probable that he thought the fight was over and he was on the ground because he believed that his opportunity had slipped away,
Okay.
and so I don't believe he knew that the fight was still continuing because it was very loud in there,
Yeah.
and there was a lot going on. So it's going to take a little bit for people to know, hey, this is still happening. But once I believe that he was aware that the fight was going to continue, he was a man getting back into the game, getting focused and ready to fight.
Now, from a timekeeper standpoint, all this other chaos is going on, but the timekeeper still has to keep that minute. It seemed like 30
Yeah.
seconds went on before they could clear it out and go, okay, we're going to have another fight. So the corners only really got about 20 seconds. Well, at least Anderson's corners only got about 20 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bisping's corner got a little bit longer, maybe 30 seconds or so before the clapper went, hey, seconds get out. And when the clapper went off, chaos was all over and everybody was all about business getting ready for the fourth round, correct?
Right. And there was time added to that rest period because of the chaos.
And how much time, do you know? Do you have any idea how much time was added?
I mean, I can't say for certain. By talking to the television people, it was under 30 seconds, but approaching 30 seconds.
So they still got almost a full 50 seconds with the corners because in reality,
Yeah.
it's only 50
Yeah.
seconds. A little bit less because they have to
Right.
get out of 10 seconds and it takes them a second to get in. So
there
okay.
was, yeah. So I did not check with the timekeeper to see how much time was added, but that was in a conversation I had with the people in the broadcast booth that time was added to the round. And Mark Ratner followed up with me. I spoke with Mark Ratner after that, and he also told me, yes, we made sure that time was added, with the timekeeper.
Now, for a position like that, going over to England, obviously you live in Los Angeles, Pasadena to be exact. And
Yeah.
you got to go all the way to London to compete, but you're not, or to compete, to ref. There's refs don't make that much money. You're talking, a couple $100 most of the time, maybe upwards towards $1,500, depending on big events, and they're on pay-per-view, and it depends on the commission. Sometimes the money's very sparse. I mean, you and I have worked amateur events together. We both made, under $150, and that was our pay for the day, for the whole, not one fight, the entire day. So how does that work going over to London in a situation like that? Because it's a long flight, it's a hotel room, it's per diem, it's this whole mess. So does the commission cover all that cost for you to fly over and do that whole mess?
Well, the UFC, the promoter is responsible for the travel.
Okay.
And for our room and for our hotel, our travel, and some of them there is a bit of a per diem given for our food. I don't know how much it's going to be because sometimes it does go up and down, and so and the bottom line is when I got on the plane to do it, I wasn't doing it with the money foremost in my mind,
Right?
Because I really don't know how to make. I'm going to get a check at some point, and I'll see what I did. See how it comes out.
When I first started reffing, I was flabbergasted at the amount of money you guys actually make, and you guys do this every weekend. Especially like I said earlier, you, Mark Goddard, and McCarthy are the top three guys, and it's amazing the amount of money that you guys don't make. Like everyone's thinking, oh, it's got to be six figures, got to be, McGregor was on CNBC earlier today talking about with his Diaz fight, he's gonna breeze past $10 million in this fight. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, let's say he's making it up. Say it's $5 million, but it's still. We'll talk about it later, but the referee of that main event isn't going to be making anywhere near $5 million.
It's a lot of. I think that there's a lot of responsibility in our hands. I think more so. I think there's an argument to say that our responsibilities are heavier than most other officials, especially especially if it's not combat sport. That's a bottom line that we have a little bit more on our plate when it comes to combat sports. And I think in our sport, we have a lot more going on because our sport is three-dimensional and there's position involved. And so we make there's a lot of discretion left for us. And so, I don't know, I think that I would say that we don't make as much as our contemporaries in combat sports. I didn't sign up doing it thinking I was going to be rich. I like doing it. I love doing it. At the end of the day, if you were to ask me, do I think we should make more money? I think we should.
Yeah.
Do I love my life that I'm involved in this sport and that I love this sport and that I get to be a part of it and get to officiate and I've got to have a lot of amazing experiences. Yeah, I love it.
It's definitely not. When I got into it, I was doing it because I love the sport. I want to keep giving back to the sport that gave me my name. And then all of a sudden I realized, hey, there really isn't any money in this. Like we're just doing it because you love it.
Yeah,
We hang out with a lot of guys that doctors and lawyers and attorneys that they're full time. They have full time jobs and they still ref 3-4 weekends a month. Trying not doing it
right,
because they need to pay for a new Mercedes Benz. They're doing it because I got nothing else to do. I might as well just do this. And then I was like, wow, I
exactly,
love this. Let me keep doing it. And so that's how it ends up happening most
exactly.
of the time.
Yeah.
You're in Vegas right now. You're in the hotel. Obviously, you're working UFC 196. Did you get your assignments yet for tomorrow night's card?
No, so I know I have the main event,
Oh, you do.
and yeah, I do. I know that, but that's in Nevada, the commission does that with a meeting that's public record, and
Okay.
so I usually find out from a friend of mine or from a fan who watches who keeps up with MMA news really closely. So someone will send me a post or a message or something saying, "Hey, congratulations on getting the big match," and maybe this time I think how I found it was my brother. My brother sent a group text to our family members with an article saying that I had
Okay.
this match. I was like, wow, okay, cool.
Is there a pay bump for being the main event, or is it the same?
I I think when there's a championship now, we do get a little bit of a pay bump. I think maybe a few $100 or
Yeah,
something like that.
but that
But
only
I mean,
started back in July of last year, right? The pay bumps didn't come in until
right.
it's very recent.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, because I think we mentioned a few times. Hey, I think we mentioned that our we hadn't had a raise for a while, and we had also mentioned that the boxing referees make considerable amount more than I do. I think the guys for the like the last Mayweather fight. I think it was. I'm not certain, but I believe it was
Yeah, Kenny Bayless made
$25,000.
$25,000, and he did one
Yeah.
undercard fight to warm up to get his juices flowing, and then did the Mayweather fight and made
Mhm.
25 grand and walked out. And you've got to work 4 fights tomorrow night.
3 to 4 is usually what
And
it
one's
is.
a championship. Well, not championship anymore because McGregor's Dos had to pull out. But still, it's a huge fight with Conor. So it's like this is going to be a huge deal. And you're right. I do agree. Now that I've been inside and I'm actually doing it the professional way and not just yelling at refs from the commentating booth, telling them that they're messing up, it is a lot of work. Like it's a lot of work going in there. And you're right. There is times that I hate to say it, but Yamazaki, he screwed me out of a title. We've seen Mazzagatti mess up quite a bit when he was still doing MMA, and you see refs you've seen refs just fall apart, and it's just like they come back. Most of them come back and go back down the minor, come back through whatever. But there's a lot of stuff going on. It's very hard to
Right,
maintain that tension.
and you fighters are very smart,
Mm-hmm.
and you know what's going on. You're tracking people. You're paying attention, and I think you were the first person to make me aware of that. Is that one time I was having a conversation with you, and you're like, "Oh no, I'm a fan of refs." It was basically your way of saying, "No, I pay attention to what you guys are doing. I know what to expect from each one of you guys. I know who I'm worried about. I know who I'm not worried about.
Yeah.
If anyone is a smart athlete, they're going to be aware of that variable and pay attention to it."
The thing I do like about you, John, and Mark is that the three of you you all have your own particular style of starting and stopping the fight. And when they announce your name, everyone's got their own little way of saying, hey, and this is Herb Dean or whatever. The third man in the ring is Herb Dean. But then once the fight starts, the mechanics, the movement, the actions are all equal. So it's like no athlete needs to worry about if you have the three of you. And there's others, of course, as well. But I'm talking about the big dog three that this is the way it is. This is whatever happens, whatever they call has actually happened. You're always in position. You're always in the right space. You're always in the right time. And yeah, some keyboard warriors, but he's there too late. We got there too early, and there's always that mess because they're fans. But being inside that cage, it's great. Now I'm seeing the advancement from when I started to the fight is
Right.
now. Because like you said earlier, man, there was I'd grab gloves, and if I needed a break, it wasn't beyond me to pull out, accidentally brush a guy's face or do something slightly damaging so you can stop it for 30 seconds when you take a breath. It's been the game the entire time.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Well, it's good having because I like having these conversations. Sometimes there's we have a lot of conversations with do interviews, and it's nice to talk to someone who's invested, who's
Yeah.
involved, and you've been invested as a fighter, been interested as a fighter, and also interested as a referee. So, like when someone makes those calls, like the criticisms, you're making those criticisms with nothing that's behind it.
Right.
And whereas a fighter makes those criticisms, he's making that criticism saying, well, I think you should have done it different. And go, so you're going to hold me to that? You expect me to do it that way when it's you on the other end? Okay, now wait a minute. No, I don't. You know what I mean? So when someone,
Yeah.
when they're, or as another referee like yourself, if you're going to criticize something I do, the next time you're in there, you're holding yourself to doing it the way you believe it should have been done. And so I think that makes the conversations interesting. You know,
I've said,
yeah.
I started saying from when I first took John McCarthy's class, and I had to take it twice, and I came down and helped you teach one of yours, I learned so much that I thought was legal and things I thought were illegal were completely incorrect in my thought process after I ended up taking the referees courses, because you learn from the inside what the actual things are, what is going on. And a lot of fighters are saying stuff. I'm seeing them like post stuff on Twitter and post stuff on Facebook. I'm like, wow, that's wrong. Like that, he's a fighter. This is like an A-list championship title holding fighter, and he really doesn't know like the letter of the law. Same thing with Bisping. Like he's blaming you because his mouthpiece popped out, and he's like looking at you to stop it.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know what was going on with that or not, and I don't want to belabor it because I've done a couple of interviews about it, and I think that I like the way you basically said it, like, hey, there was a bunch of things are going on, but really there's really nothing going on, and and we moved on with it. It's like I like coming on and doing these things, especially with someone like you, because it's an opportunity to educate the fans and some of the fighters. Hey, this is the way the rule is done, And I've actually met people who are refereeing who haven't really made sure they've read the whole unified rules document, and so. And there's a number of fighters who haven't also. So it's always a good opportunity to come on and say, hey, well, this is what we do. This is the way we address that, And this is the way we do it unwritten, and this is what actually has been written.
Herb, thanks so much for coming on here, man. I appreciate it. Educational as always. It's great to talk to you. Hopefully we'll be seeing each other again soon. We'll probably be working an amateur card sometime in June, I think.
Oh,
and then I'm just waiting for CSAC to give me my call up. So I got to keep working on it, camo. So CSAC gives me my call up to the big league. So we'll see. Hopefully, it'll be soon. They've already approved my license in California. It's just a question of when they want me to come in. So.
Right. Well, man, can't wait, and I'm sure it's going to happen eventually.
Oh,
and we'll see you. I'll see you around the circuit. Thanks for having me on, brother.
You got it, man. Have fun tomorrow night. We'll talk to you soon.
I will. Talk to you soon. Bye.